Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Tripp, and welcome to That's a Shoot. This is my usually weekly show where I talk about the goings on in the world of professional wrestling. I usually put over three things, I bury three things, and then I spend a little time on the main topic of the episode. Um, Obviously, I did not do one last week. Like I said, I was going through some things with my ankle. My ankle's feeling better now, and so yeah, so let's go ahead and let's jump right into things, shall we? As always, we start off with put over and bury. Put over things first. The first thing I'm gonna put over is the wild card rule. I know some people are not fans of that, but I am kind of a fan of it. In fact, one of the things that I always thought was that maybe that was should maybe some of the bigger names should float from show to show. I've always thought, my thing was if you were gonna do the brand split, right? First off, there should be one set of champions. Then the champions would float. The world champion, the WWE champion, I should say, the women's champion, the tag champion, and those people should float from show to show. And then there should be maybe like three or four others, like John Cena, like Randy Orton, like Big Show, and a few others. Maybe that would float from show to show, so you would see him on Raw and or SmackDown during 1 week. That's what I've always thought. So I am kind of a fan of this. There are rumors out that Fox and USA want the WWE to whatever. Uh, they want the WWE to get rid of um the brand split, and I would be okay with that too. Um, I you know I, I think there's two ways to do the brand split. I think you do it where you have SmackDown superstars, you have Raw superstars, you know, you have no, like I said, the champions that float, and then like four or five others that float from show to show. And then I think there's a way to also do the brand split where it's not necessarily where you have SmackDown superstars or Raw superstars, but you would use one show for one thing and another show for another thing. And what I mean by that is that you would use like Raw to further along, to do your long-term storytelling. That way you would do like promos and video packages and things like that. While SmackDown you would just use for maybe your more of the just a pure wrestling show where maybe there's hardly any promos, hardly any packages. Maybe there would just be like maybe just like five matches on the show, and then like you'd have like one big main event or something like that, and you would use that to maybe build up some of your undercarders too. So who knows? So I think that's two ways to do it. But going back, I think the wild card rule could work. Let's see what happens in the next coming weeks. I also want to put over the WWE giving us two WWE Championship matches. I find that to be awesome. I think there needs to be more championship matches. Now, maybe it doesn't need to be a universal or a world title match, but I definitely think for me there isn't a good reason not for the United States and or the Intercontinental Championship to be defended every week or every other week on SmackDown or Raw. There's not a good reason, and so I think that would be good to have more title matches, you know, something like that, and I understand, for a minute that you could say, well, you want to build the title match for the pay-per-view, but then that goes into the whole thing about them having maybe too many pay-per-views. But that's neither that's for another week. It may even be next week when I do that video. So we'll have to wait and see. But love the fact we get 2 WWE title matches on free television. That was awesome. And I think finally was the SmackDown exclusives. Now, we did not see this on the television broadcast, but if you go to the WWE YouTube channel, you will see that we get 3 SmackDown exclusives. We get an Iconics promo, we got a Buddy Murphy promo, and we got a Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan promo. And all 3 were pretty darn good. So I enjoy that, and especially with now them, because of the low ratings, that they are going to cut down on what what they give us on YouTube. I think that should be, I think that would be awesome. Do the SmackDown exclusives and do Raw exclusives on YouTube. Cause if somebody come out and do a promo, just like that, doing the break, and do it for YouTube. So I think that would be absolutely perfect. I think that would that would also drive people to the YouTube channel, and then you could give them little bits and pieces of the matches and things like that we see on the live show. Now to Barry, and first thing we're gonna bury is putting Roman Reigns on Raw. And here's the thing with me. I just, and I've said this before. What I want to do is they've got this reset with Roman Reigns, because Roman announcing his cancer diagnosis and everything like that, and then him coming back, it's kind of giving them a reset for Roman Reigns. And what I want them to do is I want them to make Roman Reigns. What I don't want is there's always going to be idiots, and I'm calling them idiots because that's what they are. They're always going to be idiots who are going to not like Roman Reigns for whatever reason, whatever dumbass reason they have, right? And I seen it. I saw it on Twitter when when Roman Reigns was moved to SmackDown, and there were actual people saying, he said you can boo him, so make sure you boo him. Fuck wrong with you? You really wanna especially it hasn't even been a long time. They haven't done anything, so they're always gonna be idiots. But I think for the most part, and as we can see from Raw, and when Roman came out, and the video package from SmackDown, that he's still in that phase of almost like renewedness, where they're not tired of him, and so they don't think he's being pushed down our throat. And guess what? He really isn't. Right? He's not in like main events as he shouldn't be. He's not in major programs as he shouldn't be. I will agree. Ollie Davis from Wrestle Talk, he had a good theory that maybe it would have been better to keep Roman off of TV. Keep Roman off of TV until the SmackDown after Raw, but then they get enough, and then maybe that would have been better, because the WrestleMania match, it wasn't that great. It really wasn't, with Drew McIntyre, and so like that, and I still think that Roman, at that time, Roman was still maybe not himself, so they couldn't do a match. The match they had on Raw was a lot better, so maybe he's still not able to have the kind of match that he can, have at that time. Maybe he can now, so we'll have to see. But I just don't want them to ruin the goodwill they have with Roman right now, because if they do it right, they will have what they always wanted with Roman Reigns. They will have a guy that the fans, at the very most like if not love, and he will be the face of the company. You can just I've said this all the time. I think there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to put the title on him. But I for so very much believe that this should be at it should be a WrestleMania match. That's what you get, but we have to wait and see how they continue to do it. If they screw him up, then I don't know what they're gonna do, but hopefully they won't, and hopefully they'll keep him out of major programs. So, so I was kind of like, well, why are they putting Roman doing this with Roman? This is gonna backfire on them. So hopefully with this wild card rule, they just won't continue to put Roman on shows, on both shows, and have him on every week. Keep him on SmackDown maybe every month or so. Maybe So he was on last Monday, right? He was on this past Monday. So he doesn't come back until July. He doesn't come back to Raw until July. How about that? So yeah, I'm gonna bury them doing the whole Roman thing to Raw. So even though it doesn't look like it hurt him. I don't want them to screw that up. Next, there was no Cesaro on Raw, and this is also a part of, there was no Cedric Alexander, there was no other things. None of the Cesaro was on the first Raw after the Superstar Shakeup, and then he hasn't been on Raw since. So what are you doing? I mean, Cesaro, if you have split up the bar for a reason, right? If you split them up for a reason, then go ahead and build up Cesaro. Or at least have him do promos or something like that. Have him on television so that because he's a good guy to have. I know he's probably a little bit older, but he's still a good guy to have. Still a very good worker. So the fact that Cesaro and Cedric Alexander, a lot of you guys are not getting television time, it just goes to the fact that they may have too much talent. They may have too much talent. That's why everybody is so like gung ho not renewing contracts, because they know that they're not going to get the time that they that they need, and they're asking for their release. And some of them but actually, if anybody asks for their release, if it's not any of the major ones, like if Randy Orton would ever ask for his release, no, I'm not releasing you, Randy Orton. You're staying here until your contract goes up. But see, I don't think that they would do that with Randy Orton. I don't think Randy Orton would ask you, because Randy Orton knows that no matter how long he's off television, when he comes back, he's gonna be doing something. So there's that. But yeah, so when guys like Cesaro and like I mentioned earlier in the put over, the SmackDown exclusives, the Iconics were not on television. Neither was Freddie Murphy, but they did a promo. Do that with Cesaro. Have Cesaro come out there and do a promo. So that was that. And finally, and this is the biggest one, there's too much Shane McMahon on these shows. There just is. Listen, and I mentioned this before. I'm probably gonna keep mentioning it. The fact that Shane McMahon is a heel, it's absolutely flabbergasting, and it's absolutely just, oh. See, I have no problem with him being on these shows if he was just there to, there to like help make the matches or something like that. Then I would have a problem with that, and being a babyface, basically. Him, I don't want him wrestling very much, or at all, actually very, very much at all. I don't want him wrestling. But yeah, let's do that. But why? There's just way too much Shane McMahon on this show and on these shows, and and right now it's a big part of it. And and that's what's really wrong with it. That's what's really wrong. Some people may say, but why does Triple H need to be there? Well, at least for right now, when Triple H comes out, he comes out to announce something, then he goes away. But it's just really, really weird, and I am getting very, very tired of the Shane McMahon show. I'm starting to get a little tired of the Vince McMahon show too. Yeah, yeah. They don't need to be a part of programs with wrestlers. They don't. And now for the main topic of the program is listening to the fans, a part of WWE's problem. Now some might say, well, how is that part of the fans' problem? You give the fans what they want. They're more than likely to, come back and enjoy the product more. Correct? Well, maybe not. I was listening to the Jim Cornette Experience the other week, and he had Dave Meltzer on, and Dave Meltzer mentioned something about it. I want to play it for you. So the link will be down in the description box to the podcast that I'm talking about, and the link to Jim Cornette's official YouTube account will be down in the description box. Make sure you go over there and you give Jim a subscribe. I know Jim he's an acquired taste, but I personally think that it's good, it's funny, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So let me play this for you. This is Jim Cornette and Dave Meltzer from the Jim Cornette Experience, episode 208.
Like stars, but then it's weird because Vince has his mentality of what it is, and it's like then the people reject it. And also, I mean, and this is a really unique thing, and it's not like it's good or bad or whatever, because for years and years and years, Vince did what he wanted. He just did what he wanted, and it's like, I know better than these people. And then in this last year, they've done all this market research, and it's like they know that like these ratings are falling, and when no matter what, people people will make excuses for it. Oh, TV's different. Oh, the world's different, and it is. But these ratings are falling. Yeah. And I know WWE is looking for answers. I know this, okay? They are. And they're trying hard. They're trying to run a good business and all that. And one of the things that they've done this year, and you've seen it with Becky Lynch and you saw it with Kofi Kingston, especially with Kofi Kingston, is that if the fans somehow get behind someone, they're going to go all the way with them. I mean, like 10 years ago, they're in a prayer. Vince McMahon would hear this stuff with Kofi Kingston and be like he did with his reaction to Cesaro. It's like, oh, well, there's some people who think it's cool, but he's not a main eventer in my eyes. And Cesaro is more of a main eventer in Vince's eyes probably than Kofi Kingston. But this year he went all the way because the people, it just was a story that was there, and the people just picked up on it for whatever reason. They said the right thing. He's been here 11 years. He's never got a chance. And then all these people are like, it's his turn. He's been here 11 years. He's worked hard, and it's his turn. And, like you will laugh at it. And me growing up the way I think it's his turn, and he's going to be world champion.
Yeah.
World champion isn't about his turn, but that's what the people want. And they went with it. But so in doing that, it's such a different business.
But now doesn't that tell the fans with Daniel Bryan Danielson, with Kofi, doesn't that tell the people, okay, if you pitch enough stink, we'll push the guys you like instead of the guys we want to push, and then they're going to make a stink every time they like somebody, and you're constantly battling the people. Yeah, and that's not a good position to be in either.
Yeah, no, it's a tough audience because the audience will be fickle because, I mean, Ronda Rousey's the perfect example. They loved Ronda Rousey. And then one day, because she was always getting put over like a star, because she's a star, and she was getting the mainstream, all of a sudden there was this thing of like, well, now we like Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey's in the way of Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey's like, she doesn't deserve this because she hasn't paid her dues in this business. And they just flipped the switch on Ronda Rousey. And WWE, they had no intention of turning Ronda Rousey heel. But, it was like, okay, now we've got to do it. But that, by doing that, though, by that type of a fan base, if you're a writer, you're fucked. Because how do you do a long-term storyline
Yeah.
when the people are gonna come up with something like, oh, we love you, Ron. Thank you for coming to Wrestling Ronda Rousey, and my God, you came in and you're having great matches that you never should have been able to have. Doesn't even make sense how good you are. To 6 months later, it's like, fuck you. These women have been here for 10 years, and you've only been here for 6 months, and they gave you the belt, even though you're the biggest star we have. And they're putting you in the main event. They won't put Becky in the main event, who, whatever. So now we're going to hate you. And now we got to turn Ronda Rousey. And it's like, so yeah, and then people go, and then people will go, but these storylines make no sense. Well, no shit, because it's like now they're trying to cater to you, and you're not allowing them to make sense. And that's what's the right thing. I don't know. I mean,
all right. So once again, that was from the Jim Cornette Experience podcast, episode 280. Once again, the links will be down in the description box below. You can go listen to that podcast for yourself, or you can go and follow the Jim Cornette official YouTube channel. Both those links will be down in the description box below. So let's get into pretty much that part where he was talking about that the fans get they gave the fans what they want. They get behind the fans, and he used the Ronda Rousey thing as a example. And now I will say this: there was always a part of the fan base that did not like Ronda Rousey coming into WWE. They did not like that. They did not like that, she was getting the big things. They did not like the fact that she got the title within a few months. She got it at SummerSlam from Alexa Bliss. Anything, and they did not like, a lot of the things that happened as it went on. But I think he does make a point with the fact that you talk about long-term storytelling and the fact that, that the writers are trying to write something for long-term storytelling, but the fans, they get so tired of it that they don't want to see it, right? And I think that goes too far because, listen, I do think that the fans do that. I think without question, the fans will want something, and then all of a sudden say, I'm getting tired of this. Now I want this. So, and I expect to see that with Kofi Kingston. I don't know how long they have planned to do the Kofi Kingston experience. My want would be for Kofi to hold the title to SummerSlam. And maybe put it on. I don't know. Something. I don't know who else they could put it on. Maybe put it back on Daniel Bryan. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, you would hold it until SummerSlam. Not Roman. Like I said before, Roman should get the title at WrestleMania after they kind of build him back continue to build him into more and more of a big time babyface. But I see that. But now, wouldn't it be interesting to see, where June or July the fans would say, this is fun, but I kind of want to see Finn Balor get to have the title now. I've seen a couple. I'm glad I saw Kofi win the title, and I'm glad he had a couple of good title defenses, some great TV matches, and good match with Kevin Owens, hopefully, and maybe a good match with someone else. But I kind of want to see somebody else hold the title now. Well, wait a minute. We had this plan to have Kofi, but now you want to see somebody else have it. So I can see that, but I also think that I think part of long-term storytelling, the problem with it is the fact of Vince McMahon himself. There have been so many things that Vince, that the writers, they do something and they spend all week doing this, and then Vince comes back, Monday or Tuesday and says, no, I don't like that. Let's rewrite the whole show. And then let's drop this, and then let's do that. I mean, they're not because for whatever reason, whether he just doesn't like it, or because he's trying to pop a rating, like even with this wild card rule, right? The detractors would tell you that from the people that don't like this rule would say that this was done just to pop a rating for Raw and SmackDown, and I didn't see anything about it, but I don't doubt that it helped. I don't think it helped. I really don't. So, what's going to help is doing long-term storytelling and trying to plan things out for the next year, right? And this is one of the things that one of the reasons why you need WWE needs an off season, and I think that's something to think about, because the off season would help the writers come up with writers and events come up with plans for coming down the line. So I think that's cool. But I did find that interesting that fans would because fans would like something for for a little while and then get tired of it and hate it for whatever reason, and then that causes Vince and the WWE to have to pivot towards a different way, and that is one of the reasons why in the past, in one of my past Datcha shoots, I've said that WWE should not listen to the fans. They shouldn't. For the most part, they should not listen to the fans. If you have something that you want to do, then you go ahead and do it. What you do is that you do it correctly, right? If you have it planned out for Kofi Kingston to win Kofi Kingston to win the title at WrestleMania and for him to hold it until SummerSlam, then you do it. You go ahead and you do it. And if you're gonna put it on someone else, then that's fine. And if they don't like there are a lot of people who are not gonna like the fact that Baron Corbin is going to be wrestling Seth Rollins in main events. But you know what? That's okay. What you have to do, come up with the right story. Come up with the right story to make people interested in the Baron Corbin Seth Rollins match. Come up with a good story to make it interesting to see this. So I think that's what needs to be. That I think the WWE needs to really come back into the whole storytelling mode, and not worry about what the fans want at that point in time, right? Especially if you are trying to do something. If you are trying to, to tell a story, then go ahead and do it. And don't worry about whether the fans like it or not. Now, I will say this: if something's not working, then something just isn't working. I don't want them to keep putting something on, and we can go back into the Baron Corbin thing, right? Because a lot of people are not fond of Baron Corbin, at least as in the upper card main event category, right? They feel that he's somewhere on the lower end and on the at the very most a mid card guy, right? He shouldn't be, main eventing. He shouldn't have title matches, anything like that. But I would say this: if you have it planned for Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins, and let's say you have it for Extreme Rules in July, right? Extreme Rules, you're planning to have Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Okay, so then you keep with that. And then, if it's a good story and it's something that is working, then maybe you can extend it to SummerSlam. But if it's not working, don't just keep doing it just because that you have, you know, you don't have, someone else to do. That's, you can come up with, you can have another story. You can pivot away. Because I do think there's some things that WWE does do that. They have a story. And they look around and they say, for instance, let's just say AJ Styles and Nakamura from last year, right? I think they had something good with that, right? But it just they didn't tell the story effectively. And I think what would have been, and the same thing with Samoa Joe, actually, Samoa Joe and AJ, they had something that was working. That looked to be something good, but they just didn't execute it effectively in the storytelling mode. And especially with Nakamura, so what they should have just did was, instead of having that third match, they just should have ended it after the second match. You shouldn't have had that third match, and they should have just said, okay, this isn't working. The fans aren't really into it. Let's pivot and let's do something else. That's what they should have did, but they didn't. They kept it in the third match, and it just wasn't. It was flat, and that's why some people say that AJ Styles' run as champion wasn't as good as it could have been, or as it should have been. So, but yeah, I think that is a very, very interesting assessment from Dave Meltzer. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Dave Meltzer fan. I really am not. I'm not someone that thinks he's the almighty and and you should always listen to him, anything like that. He did not give Shawn Michaels and Undertaker from WrestleMania 25 5 stars. That was the greatest match in WrestleMania history. That was probably the greatest wrestling match in the history of WWE altogether, right? And he didn't give it 5 stars. While he gives that stuff over in New Japan, he gives it 8 stars. Goes over the 5-star rating and gives it 8 stars. So it's just, I'm not the biggest Dave Meltzer fan, but I'll give him credit when credit is due, and that was an interesting series of his that he'd had. So I just thought, yeah, that's that kind of makes sense to a bit. He's it's not true for all things, but I think it does make sense. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about what Dave Meltzer said. All right, y'all, that's going to be it for this week's episode of That's a Shoot. Post your any comments down below. Tell me what you guys think about my putovers, about my berries, and about the main topic of this episode. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJ Tripp, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there, and I am out.